Christmas.
Good morning. Merry Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. All of the things. Um, okay, so let's just back up. We were supposed to drop on Friday, and life is lifing still, guys. And so we are coming to you on Christmas Eve because that's when Mexicans, let's just be real. That's when the Mexicans celebrate Christmas. Santa is coming tonight at midnight. We will all be Feliz Navidad by then. Okay. So Michaela and I decided we were going to get on today for our final podcast because we knew that this was going to be the final one for the year, the last one that we had. And so, Michaela, first question. Any
Hmm.
last minute things you got to get out and get? Any
No.
food? Anything? Nothing?
Honestly, the only reason I'm probably gonna go out today is because I just want to go see what I can find to buy for myself. It's not even like
Is
Christmas
that what?
gifts.
I did that this weekend in Dallas. I'm out there, one for them. I like that. Let me get
Five
that.
for me. Yeah. No, it's like the hardest part, especially because like we finished our Christmas shopping like before Thanksgiving. Like we were done. And so like from like
You are the
Black
people that I aspire to be one day. I haven't gotten there yet.
this is our first year accomplishing that. So we're both
Okay.
really proud of ourselves.
You should be.
Um And there was just like one or two things. Like I have a Secret Santa for my friends that I'm going to see in Dallas this upcoming weekend for New Year's.
Hmm.
So I had to finish her shopping, and I finished it, but now I'm just waiting for it to come in, and I'm getting anxious because I have one thing in for her, and I bought four things. Um, so I'm like, I have basically like today, Thursday, Friday, and then I'm gonna tell her, I'll be like, I'm so sorry, these are supposed to come in. I will ship them to you when they do.
So you're spending New Year's Eve in Dallas?
Yeah, so I fly out Saturday and I come back New Year's Day.
How excited. I'm a little jealous. I'm a little jealous because Dallas is the place to celebrate
The thing
New.
is we're the people that I'm going with, they're not like going out people. So like our New Year's Eve plan is literally stay inside. This is what we did 2 years ago, and play board games and watch the ball drop on TV.
But that's fun if you have it with the right people.
No, it is. Yeah.
I'm not a oh my gosh, I'm not a going out person anymore. Back in the day I was,
Hmm.
back when I was like your age and a little older.
Hmm.
I gotta go to this and I gotta go to that on New
Hmm.
Year's Eve. Girl, if I'm up at midnight, that is that is a
No,
blessing.
that's an accomplishment.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I like to do it with friends and family just in a small circle. I'm just not
Yeah.
that anymore. It's more relaxing and
Yeah.
I don't
I
fear drunk drivers and stuff like that.
so I've typically like my New Year's Eve plans, like they range 9 times out of 10 that I will be with my dad and my step family, and we do
Mhm.
New Year's Eve out on the ranch. So we'll pop fireworks, drink,
That's
eat,
fun.
all that fun stuff. That's where I typically spend a lot of my New Year's Eves. But the last couple of years, like I've spent it like with like last year I went out
Mhm.
here in Corpus. Don't recommend. Um,
No,
the year before that, I was in Austin, and that's when we
oh,
had our game day, watch TV, watch the ball drop from TV. And then the year before that, I think was at the ranch.
it's
And
funny
the
that you can remember because I can't. I can't even tell you where I was last New Year's Eve. I don't know. I mean, I was obviously awake and out. I just
Yeah,
don't remember. And that's the thing is like for me now, I've gotten to the point, and maybe it's because I'm old, that I'm just like, dude, if I wake up in the morning, it's a new year, you know.
yeah,
But I do try to hang out with friends and family because I do like that reflection of the year and stuff. So,
yeah. No,
okay,
it's definitely fun.
it's definitely fun. Okay, football. Your
Yes.
Longhorns are still hanging on, girl.
Oh my goodness, I was a little scared there. Again, I had to work. We had Coastal Christmas, so I had to work Saturday when they were playing.
Oh yeah.
And so my mom texted me. I literally have like just like a thread of text of like each time something happened, she would text and I didn't respond. So when they scored first, I was like, oh God, it's gonna be one of those games. And then we scored. I was like, okay, we're still in it. And then we scored again, and then we scored again. I was like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm
You're
golden.
over it.
I
Yeah.
will say though, there were a couple times because I watched the highlights and everything that it definitely worried me. But our defense is great. We stopped them again on the 1 yard line, which was a huge win for
Right.
us.
Oh yeah.
And then freaking Arch Manning. I've been praising him all season and telling them that like they need to put him in. They put him in and he fumbles the ball. It wasn't even a fumble. Like he just missed it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was
Yeah,
like,
I was having to, I'm like you, I had to keep up because I was in Dallas and
mm-hmm,
went to was going to Pentatonics that night. And so
mm-hmm.
just hustle and bustle of it all. But I was shocked when I found out after everything that they had won. And I was like, well, good for them. And now they're going to Atlanta
Back
and
to frickin' Georgia.
that
Ooh,
might be y'all demise. That might be y'all demise. But yeah, and then my Sooners, of course, I'm disappointed, right? But because we're not doing anything, except that we do have a bowl game coming up on I believe it's the 28th, the Armed Forces Bowl.
oh yeah.
Yeah, that we'll be playing at in Fort Worth. And of course, I was really upset because I didn't plan that schedule better because I could have been
Yeah,
back.
because you could have been there for
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I was just like, okay, well, wasn't meant. So, and maybe it's saving me some more heartache because I'm really just over it at this point. I just want to get to the national championship to see who's doing
Who's the
that.
actual champion?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, UT did win against oh my God, who did we play?
Clemson.
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 I
Yeah,
blanked there for a
Clemson. Y'all
second.
beat it was the first time they'd played Clemson at in Austin and they won.
Yeah,
I
and they
mean, let me
won.
tell you that traffic, because I left Saturday morning to Dallas. Remember I told you I was leaving like
Hmm
2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it was probably insane.
Going, which would put me if I left here at 3:30. So I was in San Antonio by 5:30, 5:45, and I was in
Hmm
Austin by 6:30. Girl, it was traffic both ways for people preparing to go to that.
I'm not surprised. Like that
Yeah.
is it was a big game.
So I did make up some time, but I really didn't this time because
Hmm
I always leave that early so that I can avoid anything. And
Yeah.
holiday weekend, Christmas
Yeah.
the weekend before Christmas and then the game, everybody was losing their minds, which they had a packed house
hmm
at the thing I saw. So
In
that
DK
was,
area.
yeah, yeah, it
But
was
yeah.
good. So Tennessee, okay, so we're in our playoff, right? So Ohio
So
State beat
Tennessee.
Tennessee. So
And
Ryan Day has a little more grace right now because he did win another one, even though Michigan is the still the monkey on his back. But they're going to play. Ohio State is going to play Oregon.
yes.
That's
That's
going
gonna
to
be
be a big game, whether people
yeah.
admit that or not, at
Oh
the
yeah.
Rose Bowl. And then Notre Dame, they played
University of it was UI and I don't know what the
University of Indiana, the Hoosiers, and
yes.
so they didn't. Notre Dame won,
hmm
and
And they would
then
take on Georgia, which I really hope this is who I hope that would win that game because I feel like Notre Dame can beat Georgia. Uh,
yeah.
but I'm
I
anxious
know,
about
and we
that
won't
one.
be back till after the new year. For those that are listening for the first time, this is our last episode for 2024, and we'll talk more about that in
Hmm
a few. So, all of these little tidbits that you're hearing from us right now is going to be completely changed by the end of by the time we come
hmm
back. And then Penn State played SMU, and I was so happy for SMU. You know that, and
Yeah.
it proved that they do need to tweak um, some
Oh
of
yeah.
the playoffs are done. And no disrespect to SMU, I think they held their own as much as they could, but at some point we have to level the playing field because that's like taking elementary school and playing a high school. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just not in the same leagues. You don't have the same.
Yeah.
And so it's not a diss, it's not a disrespect. It's just it is what it is, it just
Yeah.
makes it harder. And the money, let's be real. SMU played Penn State. I mean, lawyers go to SMU and all of those things, but Penn State has a little bit bigger
Yeah.
following and reach to people.
Yeah. So college football playoffs are happening literally New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. So we're ending the year with football and we're starting the year with football, which is
I know.
exciting.
Yep.
But it's going to be interesting, obviously, because the winners from each of these. So the winner from UT versus Arizona, which they play on January 1st, will play whoever wins Oregon versus Ohio, which I feel like it's gonna be Oregon, and I'm gonna be
I want it
anxiety
to be
coming back.
Oregon because Gabriel um, is the quarterback there, and
Hmm.
Gabriel was a Sooner before he was anything. And so for
Of
me,
course,
I'm going to
of
go for
course, it all
Oregon.
comes back to the Sooners. Um,
I
and
love hot.
then the winner of the Notre Dame and Georgia game will play the winner of the Penn State versus Boise State. Um,
And I'm
so
rooting
that's
for
exciting.
Boise. I really am. I love their blue. I love their
They were
spirit.
an automatic in, right?
Yeah.
Them, Oregon, Georgia, and
Yeah, they
Arizona. They
got
were
that
those are the
bye
four.
or
Yeah.
whatever where they didn't have to do it.
Mhm.
Okay, and then the other thing about football before we get into your
Yeah.
hockey is NFL
That's
start
crazy.
on Netflix on Christmas Day. Okay, so for all the cord cutters, all the people that have cut cable and all of those
Hmm.
things, Spectrum and the crazy prices,
Me.
they have to stream everything, and
Yeah.
so in order to be able to watch stuff, and so this is a huge. I know people do not realize how big of a deal that the
No, it
NFL is
is
combining with the
ginormous.
with Netflix. So number one, you're going to see Netflix. You remember Netflix was really, really big. It still is, but then they
Hmm.
started limiting the
The
num-
selections, it was
number of
horrible.
people that could be
Yeah.
share the account, right?
Yeah.
So then people
Hmm.
got mad and they were like, "Well, forget that. We're going to do this."
Yeah.
And the Mike Tyson fight was shown on there, and a lot of people
And
dumped
that was
it
messed up
because
because
right because it was buffering so
hmm
much because it was so
so
over.
people were hopping on. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now it's like, okay, this is a huge undertaking because there is huge football is huge. This is no secret. But to put NFL on there now, it's going to increase their viewership.
Yeah.
So
So they have
I'm
to increase their
hoping
bandwidth.
they're going to have that's my only concern is that I already pay Netflix, so guess what? It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking forward to being able to watch that, or if I go
Yeah.
and sign up just because of that, and then you fail me, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you better hold
Well,
on.
it's so crazy because NFL's going to Netflix, hockey's going to Amazon Prime. Like sports are going to like streaming platforms a lot quicker than I think anyone ever thought.
Yes,
No one's really watching, cable TV anymore. And so
cord cutters. Nope. Mm-mm.
I know personally, like I have Hulu, I have ESPN, I have Netflix. Like I don't pay for cable because no one watches cable TV anymore.
Yep. Yep.
So
And you know what? I mean, it's a sign of the times.
yeah,
It's a sign of the branding. It's a sign of the partnerships and things that can happen when
yeah,
big people come together. The problem is my only concern would be,
the speed, and I hope like we don't
yeah, that's
lose
the only
that.
thing because
Yeah.
my Cowboys, let me throw this in real quick. I
They
wanted them
won,
to
right?
lose. Yes, they won. I needed them to lose out these last games so that we could have. So, Jerry Jones, if you're watching this, why? Why do you not just tell your boys, go out and put my third string out there so that we can get a number one draft? No, y'all decide on the day that you're eliminated. There's no way, shape, or form that you can make it to the playoffs nor the Super Bowl. It's over. Like it's done. Good for you for having the drive and your team for having the drive to win it. But dude, work smarter, not harder. Resource your resources. If Dak's not
You're,
in, put all the other people in, lose out, and then let us have the picks. And that is my Christmas Eve rant about the Cowboys. I was very happy that they won, but I'm very
but
frustrated.
also very upset they
Why?
won.
Because why didn't we do this at the beginning of the season so that our hopes of Christmas miracle to make it to the playoffs or at least a chance? No, those were done, and then they go out there and win. Are you kidding me? Okay,
You-
let's talk about football. I can't. I mean, let's talk about
Let's talk
hockey.
about hockey because you can't even focus on football right
I
now.
can't. Not anymore. But again, kudos to the Cowboys.
Hmm.
Y'all won the past two games that I know of. Others, yes, but we got to do better, guys. That's all. That's all. That is my gift to y'all. That is my tip to y'all. Figure it out before the new year. Okay,
Well,
go
on that
ahead.
note, speaking of streaming, so Face Off, which was the NHL documentary series that followed,
Mm-hmm.
they are getting a season 2 in 2025. So I'm excited. I don't know what players they're following. Nothing's really been, announced about it, but we are getting a season 2. So super excited about that. Um, but also before I get into I feel like the really juicy stuff that's going on right now, with the hockey world or the NHL world. Um, we have 50 days until the Four Nation face off. Super excited. But before then, we have the NHL Winter Classic, which is on New Year's Eve at 4 p.m. And it's St. Louis versus Chicago. And they're playing at what's the really famous baseball stadium?
Wrigley.
Yeah, they're playing at Wrigley Field.
And I didn't even, I guessed one because of the names that were picked out. And I'm
Yeah,
just
it
like,
was Wrigley Field. Um, so that's super exciting. It's like one of my favorite games. It's one of the outdoor games. It's something that I hope I can go to eventually, regardless of what team is playing.
would it not be amazing to go to it and the stars were playing in it?
Oh my God, that'd be huge. I would literally go into debt to go to that game
Credit
because
card charge, credit
no,
card charge.
literally go get a loan to take out. Like I would go. Um, so that's coming up. But what happened recently, speaking of the Stars, so they played the New York Rangers this past weekend. Um, and anyone who knows the New York Rangers probably knows one guy, which is Matt Rempe. Um,
Uh-huh.
so he's 22 years old. He's not, didn't just get drafted. But maybe he did just get drafted. This past year, he is known for being a physical being on the ice. Like he's spent more games suspended than he has played this entire season. Like he's been suspended for 12 games and has only played 8 games.
I kind of like him just by that definition.
So he's a physical player. Um,
He has a little aggression. Does he have anger issues, rage issues?
maybe. Yeah, he's tall too. But they played the Stars, I think on Saturday. And he had an illegal hit on Mira Haskinson of the Dallas Stars. So the NHL is I feel like wishy-washy on player safety. Because they'll say one thing was a really bad hit and they'll have to go into like a call and basically have a hearing. And then there are other hits that are like, this requires a hearing. Like the Joe Pavelski hit from like 2 playoffs ago that from Matt Dumba, that took him out of the playoffs against Minnesota. Like there was no hearing on Dumba, and a lot of that pissed a lot of people off. But then there was like
So there's a little favoritism, is what you're
there
saying.
is
There's a
it's
little,
really the
depending on who it is and what it is, as
not
to.
even that I don't even know what the thought process behind it, but it's just very wishy-washy.
Hmm.
So he had a hearing. So technically, if you have a hearing like over Zoom, the most you can be suspended for is about 5 games. It's when they have hearings in person that it's a little bit more of a bigger issue. So he had a hearing in person on Sunday, and he was suspended for 8 games for the back check against Mira Haskinson.
Oh wow.
So he is out for 8 games, which was added to the 12 games. So it's just
Good
listen,
grief, Charlie
yeah,
Brown. He needs some definite
some definite work, yes. But I definitely think having a physical player like that is good for a team. Um, maybe not New York Rangers because there's a lot of stuff going on with the Rangers right now. And that's kind of like the big fish, I guess, to fry that I want to talk about.
right.
Especially because I feel like it hits pretty close to home for me because it involves the social team of the New York
Right.
Rangers.
Right.
So it had come out, there was an article that came out, um, I want to say maybe 5 days ago, that after they fired the general manager, that the PR person was fired for having dinner with the player, following a media event before the new season. And
Okay,
so
wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Back up. Somebody got fired for having dinner with the
with the
public
player,
relations with the
yes, no,
player.
no, the PR person, one of the PR people got fired for having dinner with the player after a media event that was to promote the new season.
Oh wow.
So that's just not it. There's also there has to be another incident that is going on because staffers were told that absent from written approval from an executive vice president or above, they were prohibited from staying at the same hotel as any of the teams under the MSG umbrella, including the minor league Hartford Wolfpack, the Westchester Knicks, traveling on team flights or buses, or attending team social gatherings or meals. So basically, the players and the coaching staff have been now been isolated from the media personnel, which you and I know this, like that is huge.
That's
And
not good.
so it's not. And
It's
you can
not
already
good.
tell.
Yeah.
You can already tell because first of all, the New York Rangers social has just not been good. Like, and it's not just this first year. It's been like maybe last couple years. That it's just you can tell that like even like the Devils, Stars, like Vegas, like their team, the other teams of the NHL have some great social teams that work nonstop to provide amazing content and graphics and all of this really really cool stuff that gives fans an insight to
The
the teams.
experience. Yep.
Yeah. But now what really brought people to notice this before the article even came out is that there's clips on like their New York Rangers like socials from like security cameras of walk-ins. Like versus like these really cool photos and videos that typically teams get. So that's what kind of started people questioning it. Um, but yeah, so like the New York Rangers, there's something going on in that organization. And there's a really good article that I read actually yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. Um,
Well, and just in general, across all teams and sports, you have to have
yeah.
clear definition of different departments, but
Mm-hmm.
they cohesively have to work together. The media
Yeah.
team, the public relations team, the social marketing team, they are, I know a lot of people in a lot of organizations across the board don't look at them as important roles and vital, but they
Mm-hmm.
are because they're the ones that are building the name, the brand, getting the fans engaged.
Yeah.
Getting the piping up the hype and all of that.
Yeah.
So when that is taken or decreased, it will affect an organization's fan base. It
Yeah.
will, whether you want to admit it or not, it does. And so I understand separation. You don't need to mix business with pleasure amongst the departments and
Yeah.
things like that. But when you completely segregate, and you and I had these challenges where it's like, no, guys, we're trying to help.
Yeah.
When you separate those because of a misunderstanding or a lack of communication, or just because it's easier not to deal with it and just separate them, you're hurting your team more. That's just there's
You really
no
are.
way to you're hurting them and facing it and saying, okay, this is what happened. We don't have to air out all the dirty laundry, team, but this is what happened. And so moving forward, this is what we're going to do. Now that and every day that they sit on it and they don't fix it, it is
Mm-hmm.
destroying them by 3 days. So for every
Yeah.
one day, it's 3 days of hurt because it's going to take that time to
Yeah.
rebuild it.
And the article is by Rachel Carton on the link in bio website. It says why are the NHL Rangers limiting the social team's access to players? And first of all, the tagline is perfect for the story. Is you don't need to care about hockey to care about this story, and it's true because it's not just a hockey thing. It's
No.
any sports team. So on and this is just part of the article. On December 19th, Vince Z. Mercolagino, I'm definitely mispronouncing that. A journalist for a local New York news outlet published a report on the alleged toxic culture of Madison Square Garden Company and specifically the New York Rangers. It outlined a big brother environment, paranoia, and a feeling of walking on eggshells with the organization. And it says one quote from a story in particular kept propping up as I scrolled. There have been dismissals within the front office, scouting, public relations, and social media departments, with the latter no longer permitted to travel with the team due to an incident last spring. So it is
Remove the
insane.
cancer, don't remove the whole team.
Yeah.
Remove whatever the issue is, deal with it, and cohesively put the puzzle back together without destroying the puzzle.
Yeah, but it's from what I've read, it sounds like it's not it's an organization
Hmm.
thing, not a specific department. But it's crazy because thankfully, I've gotten so lucky with being my first sports job and working for the Tritons. Um, First of all, just having you as someone who I can lean on and we can bounce off ideas, but having a leadership that was like, no, like have the players do these stupid little videos, or
Hmm.
even like the coaches like were really, great at being like, oh no, you need a video, like let me get the players, especially when the players didn't always want to do it. The coaches were
Right.
like, no, like we're
And,
gonna
and I
do
get it. They
this.
don't want to be in the limelight. I mean, and
Yeah,
Travis Hunter, that's a whole nother subject, but he's a prime example of he doesn't want to be in the spotlight. He just wants to play his sports
yeah,
and go on. Unfortunately, because he's an elite player, he
they
has to
have
be
to. Yeah,
showcased, right? So again, Tritons, any football team, any
yeah,
soccer team, anything, there is that balance. And once you become an organization like the like the Rangers,
hmm
New York Rangers, you have to deal with the cancer and put the chemo there and then just move on and
yeah.
but cohesively still do it, because if not, fans, in order to get fan engagement and get them interested, they want to know what's going on, the good, the
They
bad.
want to have that connection with their team. And thinking of that, the last line of the article is, as the fan I spoke with told me, outside of winning games, if leadership wants to win the fans back, they have to let the people who hit post breathe life and transparency into the biggest online representation of their team. It's a
Amen.
business at the end of the day, and social is crucial marketing for the team and the game. And that is just the facts,
That's the fact.
especially in the day and age. Like
Yep.
social media is everything. That is number one marketing. Like no one uses
That's
really
marketing
billboards.
101.
Yeah,
That part of
exactly.
it at this point in any game, in any team, I don't care if it's a
Yeah,
college team, I don't care if it's a high
it's
school team.
exactly.
It's
It's
that is the key. And media, because there's so many platforms, there's
mm-hmm.
so many, I mean, there's so much content out there to create and share. And
Yeah.
even with my job now,
Mm-hmm.
iHeartMedia, the the fan base of different, even podcasts or stuff. You know why? Because there's that interaction, that social
Yeah.
media engagement. People want to know, like they feel like they know those players, like
Yeah.
they feel like that.
They
I don't
want to
know
know.
Jerry
Yeah.
Jones. Jerry Jones, if he saw me walk up right now,
He'd
would
have
not know me from
yeah.
Adam. However, I know a lot about Jerry Jones
Yeah.
because it's been out there, good or bad. And so, yeah, I hate that for any team,
Yeah.
especially a team that's worked so hard to build their name, build their brand, build their
Mm-hmm.
fan base.
Yeah.
And when you start losing fans, we all know what that does.
Yeah. It's insane. So I do hope like the MSG organization does figure it out soon. Because I feel like New York Rangers is just synonymous with hockey. And it's such a good rivalry with between them and Jersey. That I don't think it would just affect New York. It would affect a little bit more than that. But yeah, so that I thought that was crazy when I saw that. I was like, what do you mean? I was gonna say I didn't travel with our team this past season except for the championship game, but that wasn't for the lack of the
Right,
offer. It was I had a full-time job and just couldn't do it. But
right,
if I had
right.
said, hey, like I want to go do an away game to cover it, they'd be like, okay, like let's go. Like you're gonna have to hop on the bus with these guys that might smell, but let's go. Like you'll like it was there. The option was there.
Well, and even, talking about the Titans, that's why we got a big fan base this summer. I mean, this
Yeah,
year. I mean, we really did, because we were
we
engaged with
pushed.
them.
Yeah,
We pushed. And even when they didn't want to see Titans, guess what? It was on their
hmm
feed. Why? Because we were pushing
we
them.
pushing.
And yeah, and then a lot of fans got to know some of these players,
Yeah,
or
they.
they got to know these players,
Oh
right? Because
yeah,
they
like
saw them, and then saw him on the field and saw him in person when the meet and greets. And so
Yeah, it was
I
amazing. And
really
I,
hope that the New York Rangers can figure it out and come to the table. A lot of times when that happens, like I do, people
hmm
don't want to talk about it, don't want to sit down and hash out the issues. But if this was a particular incident, and granted, that wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back, right?
yeah,
But if this was that incident, should have been dealt with and remove it. And
yeah,
let's move forward. And then, well, okay, we got another roadblock. Okay, let's figure
let's
it
do it
out.
again. Yeah.
Keep it going so that the fans never feel it. Once the fans
hmm
feel it, that's when it takes
Yeah, and the fans are definitely feeling it. So it's
feeling it.
definitely something
Yeah.
to keep an eye on,
Yeah.
uh,
Mm.
because it's
Okay.
gonna change it.
Sad. I hate it. I hate it just because I know what we've seen. You know what I mean? And so I don't
hmm
like it when I see Cowboys. There were some
hmm
empty seats at the Cowboy game, and it's like because fans are frustrated, right? And
hmm
so it's hard to gain fans back once you lose them. It really, really is hard to overcome that. So hopefully,
Yeah.
my prayer is that they will get back on the game. So.
Yeah.
But girl, we need to take a break. We need to go to our sponsor real quick, and then we will finish off.
Want to know what's going on in Corpus Christi? Make sure you check out cceventscalendar.com. That holds all of the events going on for the entire month. New are added daily. And again, that is cceventscalendar.com. All right. So for a little mental health moment to wrap out the year, we're going to talk about resolutions.
Oh. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, do you do resolutions?
I did up until about 2 years ago. I just felt like resolutions were very, like, it's just not a fun word.
Yeah, I learned a few years back that I don't use the word resolutions. I
hmm
use new habits.
hmm
And so I focus on creating new habits. One year it was quitting smoking. So this
hmm
year, on I guess New Year's Day will be 3 years that I haven't smoked a cigarette. And so mine is creating, I don't like to look at it as resolutions because I feel like so many people do that.
Yeah.
You see the gym packed all of January,
Yes,
and
I
by
hate, like,
February 1,
I
and
avoid the
then
gym that
February
month,
1,
honestly.
yeah. And so for me, it's like, no, I create new habits. So I am making a list of habits that I want to create. I'm pretty good for the most part as far as my habits. I obviously need improvement on a lot of other things, but resolutions are really hard, in my opinion. Like you said, it's a difficult word. So it's hard. And I feel like when you set that expectation on yourself of a resolution and you don't meet it, then you give
It,
up,
yeah,
right?
and it's a really
People just say,
crappy
forget it. I'll
feeling.
try again next year. Whereas if you say, right? And so, well, it's not horrible. It's good for me. I don't like water. But if I say I want to create a habit and work on three, 32 ounces of water, at least if it stops for a couple of days, I don't feel like a failure. It's like, no, Melina, refocus on the habit. Try to
Yeah,
create the habit. And we all know 21 days to make or break a
break a
habit.
habit, yeah.
Yeah. And so resolutions, I don't, I do have a few. I'm still thinking about them. But I
hmm
always choose a word. I don't know if you do that. I always choose a word for the new year. And what's funny is you're gonna laugh. My word last year was challenge. I wanted to challenge myself
You definitely challenge
at
yourself.
girl. When I reflected this past weekend on what my word was and I literally got tears in my eyes. Like, girl, you overcame some challenges.
hmm
Um, but I didn't even know. So my new word for this year, when I was thinking about all that and I was kind of praying about it and thinking about it,
hmm
is abundance. Girl, I want an abundance of everything nice this year. Abundance. That God, manifestation, the universe, I do not want any challenges. Melina overcame enough challenges in 2024 to hold me for a couple of years. So I want abundance. I want abundance of blessings. I want abundance of blessings for my friends. I want abundance of cash flow. I want
Don't we
abundance.
all?
I want abundance. I want abundance of chocolate. I want abundance of Dr. Peppers. Whatever positive abundances that word means, challenge is done as of December 31st. That's what I'm going to say about that word. So, Michaela, what's your word for 2025?
Um, that's a hard one. I used to when I was actively like writing on my blog, I would do it like every year because it always followed in with I started my blog like December 29th of like 2013. I graduated high school in 2013, so probably 2013.
Girl, why did you have to remind me of that?
Sorry. Um, so it's really funny because I used to do that for every year because it was like the anniversary for writing and the start of the new year. Um, and
You're going to have to think about that.
I am
So
because
we'll come back in
I
when we come back in January for our first show, we'll let
God,
you your word so that we'll know
yeah,
what that
because
is.
there's a lot of things that I want for 2025, but there's also a lot of things that I'm letting go of in 2024. Uh, so I yeah, TBD.
Yeah, TBD. So we will wait. So put that on the agenda so we don't forget that next
What
month
is
we need
Michaela's word
what
for
is Michaela's
2025?
word, but mine is abundance. So anyone
Okay.
watching, abundance. If you have an abundance of something good, positive, not challenging, I don't mind being challenged.
Melita
I
wants
love
it.
challenges. I want abundance. Abundance.
I think challenges are good, but I think just a influx of challenges at a
Yes.
short period of time is
Girl,
not that
this
great.
was like my challenges. It's like
Yeah, it was a
it
lot.
like snowballed,
Yeah.
right? It was
Hmm.
like it kept, and by the end of it, there was a big old ball at the bottom that I'm just looking at like, okay. And it was like I said this weekend when I was thinking about stuff,
Hmm.
and
I mean, you said you wanted some challenges, so you spoke that into the universe, ma'am.
so you know what? I believe in the power of speaking into the universe, abundance. I need abundance. I don't need abundance of grandkids. I already got that. I got five. I need abundance of
Of
positive. I need
everything else.
everything else, everything. Abundance of tacos every Tuesday. Abundance of breakfast,
Yeah.
things during just abundance. So
Yeah.
yes, we will find out yours ne-
January
on our
3rd,
first show for January. Michaela will announce her and I
word
encourage
for
people to,
2025.
I do. My friends make fun of me because they're always like, Melina, you're so positive and blah, blah, blah. Okay. They don't know that I am crazy behind closed doors. Well, that most of them do.
Hmm.
But I mean, the thing is you have to set yourself up or you don't. You know what I mean? If you don't set
Yeah.
yourself up, nobody's going to set you up for it. So you have to focus on those things. If there's challenges, if there's abundance, if there's peace, if you want to find serenity, if you want to find um, whatever that word looks like for you. So, okay,
Yeah.
we're going to go to our Would You Rather,
Okay.
and it's Christmas edition.
Hit me.
Okay, hang on. I had to. Okay, would you rather? I got two of them. Would you rather have everyone in your family? So I'm talking aunts, uncles, cousins, your abundant family
Which is a
receive the
lot.
same, receive the exact same gift or wear matching pajamas all day.
Okay. So we already wear matching pajamas all day, so I'll just
Who are you and why?
Okay, well, me and my mom tend to do.
Okay.
Mainly because like once I go to my dad's, we're going out to the ranch and everything. People are in comfy clothes.
Are
Like
you
we
wearing
don't
your
dress
boots
in.
to the ranch?
Possibly. Depending on like what the weather is like and everything. Like with Thanksgiving it was like cooler, so I felt like, I could wear them and not look weird. Which I never look weird wearing boots, but with it like it's like 80 degrees today, which is Christmas Eve, which I hate. I
I love it.
I
You
hate
have
it.
no idea how much I love that. I do not have to have the cold like I did in DFW. I do not have to have ice and snow. Give me sun, give me
Mm-mm.
heat. Melt Frosty the Snowman. I'm good with that.
Mm-mm.
I
Um,
love a beach Christmas. I abs growing up in North Texas, raising my family, I love sun at Christmas. I do. It's good for me. I'm solid on that. Um,
um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess it just depends
you
on
could
how
wear
I wake
shorts
up.
and boots. You could wear your
No,
days
I
in
could,
boots.
but I'm also around my grandparents, and they really don't like the fact that I have tattoos. And I've gotten in trouble with them, which is really funny because they speak Spanish and I don't, and so them getting mad at me is very always like looking to my sister, like, what did they say? Um, so
Yeah.
I
Oh, so grandma and grandpa don't like tattoos.
they don't. So I try. Obviously,
Try to be respectful. That's
yeah, I'm
good.
gonna be 30, and I don't care what anyone says about my tattoos, but I do try to be respectful around them.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. If
So
my
I don't
if my
know.
grandparents were alive, they would not like the fact that I have tattoos. And my grandmother, I mean, I have aunts, uncles, and cousins that have them too, but it
Yeah,
wasn't something that they really
liked. Yeah, no. So it's just mainly out of respect for them. So I don't know
like.
what I'm gonna wear tomorrow, honestly.
And do y'all do Christmas Eve with your mom tonight? Is that how you do it? And then tomorrow with your dad?
So it used to be like that when I was little. Like every year we would switch off. Like I would do
Right.
Christmas Eve with dad, Christmas Day with mom, and then next year flip flop. Um, I, we don't do that anymore now that I've gotten older and everyone else has kind of gotten older. Like I do the same thing with Thanksgiving. Like I'll spend Christmas morning with my mom because she wakes me up at 5 because she's a child. Um, no, it's like it's a thing. Like people, I like tell
I
people this at
love
work.
that though.
I told people this at work this past week, and they were like, "No, she doesn't." I said, "No, she's literally knocking on my door at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had your coffee ready. Like, are we gonna?" I just knocked, and my dog's going crazy. Like, are we gonna open gifts? Like, let's open gifts. I'm like, can I sleep for another hour? No. Okay, I guess I'm
Girl,
getting out of
Santa
bed.
came to town. You do not sleep. Even at 30, you do not. Oh, you're not 30, 29 and three
Yeah,
quarters.
thank you, thank you. I still got 4 more months, ma'am.
I think we need to plan a Girl Talk Sports Talk Michaela birthday bash. I'm serious and do all sports and everybody has to dress up sport. We're going to talk about that offline. Okay.
You can plan it.
Okay.
I
And
even
then,
told my friend, I was like, I'm not planning my 30th birthday. I want one, but you need to plan it. Like,
okay.
I just,
Okay.
nope.
So I've got to put that on my to-do list.
Okay.
Okay. Would you rather live in a snow globe or a gingerbread house?
A snow globe, because I feel like a gingerbread house would get moldy.
You would.
Applying logic here, Melina. That's what I'm here for.
And here's what's funny is you just heard me complain about the cold. I would
You'd
live
rather
in,
a
I
snow
would
globe.
live in the snow globe. I would live in the snow globe. You know why? Because they could carry me around and shake me and put me down and all the snow would fall. It would just be fun. It would just be fun. It would just be fun to
Okay.
see all of
Let's do
that.
that. Okay.
Okay. So, and then, okay. So, our last, before we close out, oh, is there anything in sports today
Yes. So
before
today
we
in
do our,
sports,
our last?
well, I technically did for Christmas Day in sports, but back in 1956, for Detroit's future Hockey Hall of Fame right wing, Gordie Howe picks up a Christmas hat trick and 3 assists in Red Wings' 8-1 win over the New York Rangers, which is the most points he's scored in a single game in his entire 26-year NHL career.
Wow. Okay, so the New York Rangers have been around that long. They need to get their stuff together. They really, that just emphasizes, I need y'all to get your stuff together. Whatever that is, I don't know what that is, but whatever it is, y'all need to figure
I
it out.
actually want to know how long they've been around. Okay, so are you ready? They've been around since April 1926.
April 1926. Your birthday's in April.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the same day?
I don't know. Let's see. New York Rangers founded. Oh, look, foundation date. A
So it's going to
founding
be
date.
100 years old. If it's in 1926,
Mm-hmm.
in 2026, they're going to be
Doesn't
100
tell
years
me a
old.
day.
Okay. So they have 98 years of fan base built. They need to figure it out. Whatever the
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Okay, well, we're going to wrap up our last little 15 minutes before the end of the year. Because like as we said earlier, this is our last podcast. I think it's podcast 37, 38. What is
37.
37? So back in July, we started as far as on a prayer and hope and prayer. Michaela came into my life this year. We both came into each other's, and we have been the best of friends and the worst of enemies with the snarls and the looks at times. And I think that overall, it's been a great year. It's been rough. I know specifically for myself, it's been a rough year. And for one of the things on my recap is just I'm extremely thankful. Despite challenges that I faced this year, I've been able to overcome those challenges. And I'm thankful for the friendships that I gained in that. I've gotten on, for me, gotten to see Michaela grow from a hockey girl to a college girl and actually
College
like
football.
it.
College football. I'm not a college girl anymore.
Well, you can be if you go back to UT and party with the tailgaters.
That is true. That is true.
There's always perspective there. But I'm thankful for you, Michaela, but I'm thankful that we've been able to kind of channel our energy towards something that's positive for women. What you don't know is I have been in talks with the soccer. And so we're going to be talking to them right after the first of the year. And I've been talking to a girlfriend of mine that is crazy that she is a hockey mom of a minor professional player. So she's traveled all, and I've known her since junior high. And it clicked the other day. I reached out to her. So she'll be coming on at the beginning of the year too to talk hockey and all of the things. But I think it's been a great avenue for you and I you love sports, or you love hockey and you love sports and going into this, past season, you really were excited about it. And so I'm thankful for those opportunities. The other thing I'm thankful for, I think this year, and I'm really looking forward to it next year, is my job with iHeartMedia. They took a chance on a girl that literally was at a breaking point and saw everything that we had done as an organization, all of us together through the Tritons and other things that there's some really cool doors opening. Um, I haven't experienced tragedy this year, so I am grateful this Christmas for that. As far as loss of family or friends, I have a lot of friends dealing with their first Christmas without a mom or a dad, or both their parents or a child. I have one particular person that I'm thinking of that lost their family pet after like 13 years. And I mean, this pet was their child. And so there's just a lot, despite the challenges that I faced this year, that I'm thankful for. And we're opening up a platform. People are realizing that it's okay as females that we can be girls and be crazy and still talk sports and know what we're talking about. I think that despite different things that we go through individually, me and you make a good team, even when we're driving each other crazy, and not knowing what the other's thinking or saying. But we figure it out, and I think that that's a testimony to us as individuals, but also as a team, looking out for everything else. So, what about your year in review?
So I think if you had told December 2023 Michaela where she would be, and I'm very emotional, so I might tear up during this,
Don't
where
make me
she
cry, girl. It is Christmas Eve. I cannot cry.
where she would be December 2024, I don't think she would have believed me. Because going into 2024, I knew that I wanted to make a career out of social media.
Hmm.
And it's not quite a career that, is a full-time career, but I've gotten to be able to start it and get my foot in the door.
Hmm.
Um, I have basically been working one of my dream jobs,
Hmm.
which I never thought I would get to say that. So going into this year and literally I can remember sitting in Clarissa's office
Aw.
seeing a schedule that said Corpus Christi Tritons and I'm like, what is that? And she's like, oh, this new indoor arena football team. And we were talking about that. And she's like, maybe you should like reach out to them. And I said, yeah, maybe. And at that time, like I was thinking more about a friend who had just lost a job working for a team. Um, and so I had reached out to them and it ended up being like sh a great, first of all, stepping out of my comfort zone because I've never done that before. um, and reaching out saying, hey, like I do this and I would really, really like to work with y'all, regardless of what it is. And it ended up being more than what I could have imagined. Um, especially,
Those game days, woo.
especially from our first conversation. Like I remember because I told my office manager that, hey, I had an interview. Uh, and she's like, oh, what for? And I told her. And so I remember sitting because I drove away from our office parking lot because it was over the phone. Our first conversation was over the phone. And so I went and sat in the parking lot of our movie theater. Um, so I was sitting there in the like the back end of the parking lot because it was just down the street from where I work currently, and having this conversation with you, and you were talking about oh like events and stuff like that, not
My hype
knowing
girl. You were
my
supposed to be
hype
my
girl.
hype girl. I needed a hype girl. I needed someone
Yeah,
to help.
yeah. And then meeting Kevin and Jody at the Rippled Steakhouse on my lunch break in my scrubs. Like I literally came in my scrubs. I don't think you'll understand this. Um, and talking to them, and then it being sort of like a game day operations gig. Um, and then you telling me that, hey, like we really want to bring you on, and it just kind of snowballed from there, from like Mardi Gras to
Oh,
training
yeah. And did
camp.
you see we're on the picture for Mardi Gras for this year? Did you
No,
see
I
that?
didn't.
Girl, the butterflies made the flyer on Barefoot Mardi Gras for 2025. And it's
I'll have to go look.
Siobhan, it's me, it's you, and it's the little butterflies. Unfortunately, Chavez and his daughter were not caught in this particular picture, but
Uh-huh.
I noticed it, and there's me and you, big as day, with our wings up, and I'm like, oh my gosh! So I'm very thankful for that. That was a
Yeah.
very fun event, for our organization, for the
Yes.
organization, and just in general, because a lot of people don't experience barefoot Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
Mm.
So from that to training camp to, the first game from the last game and everything in between the championship,
Girl, I'm getting tired all over again. I
it
can feel.
was it was a great experience and definitely one for the record books and definitely something that made my year so great. But
I think it
even
made our
just
year fly. I think it made our year
yeah.
fly by. I know from the road trips and us going to Georgia, um,
Hmm.
and then bye weeks, and just, it was
Yeah,
just,
everything.
I
Yeah.
think that it just snowballed, and it was just so busy that literally before we knew it, it was July. I
Yeah.
mean, literally was just like, whoa, what are we doing? So,
Yeah.
um,
Oh, I just hit myself in the face with my dog's toy. Um, but no, like just aside from like that, but it was such a huge part of my
it molded you this
2024.
year.
It
Yeah.
really did. It
Yeah.
really did. And it gave me a lot of insight and a lot of confidence in to take what I want, and not be scared of it. It also kind of showed me that, hey, I can do this.
You
Before
can do
as whereas like before it wasn't like something that I could even fathom. Like I wanted to do it, but I couldn't prove to people that I could do it. And being able to go and step in and be like, hey, not only can I do social media, I can do game day ops, I can do events, like all of this. And it was such a
it.
big, huge part of who I became in 2024 and who I hope to take into 2025. Um, and I might be talking about that a lot, but it's who it's shaped me
No,
into.
2024 really did shape me. I had other challenges outside of just football,
Hmm.
but it did. As I reflect back myself, I just look at it as what a year ago when we were preparing for the first days, because I was part of that from the
Yeah.
beginning, and not knowing what it would look like. it definitely, I want to say, helped build character in me. It
Hmm.
helped me realize the importance of community.
Hmm.
It helped me understand the importance of doing more, doing the best that we can for the children in this community.
Yeah.
Um, was it all perfect? Some haters, or what I would say enemies in the process. Yeah,
Hmm.
probably so. But the growth that I experienced and the challenges that I experienced in that, I know definitely molded me.
Yeah.
And knowing that, like you, I can do this because I had never done a football team. I know customer
Hmm.
service, I know public relations, I know leadership, I know project management, I know all of those things, but I didn't even know indoor arena football rules. Like I didn't like none of that. And so to go from that to where we are today,
Hmm.
granted, I stepped away from them, got picked up by Harrisburg, was thankful and grateful for that opportunity. And then unfortunately, Harrisburg is not going to be returning to the NAL this season. But to know that I had made an impact in the arena world like that and to be first called up, that was
Yeah.
really, I think for me, that was a humbling moment. But despite all the challenges that I had put my heart and soul,
Hmm.
and it was noticed because I love football. And I hate being a crier, but I think that so many times we as females, we always focus on the negative and we focus
Yeah.
on the, what coulda, woulda, shoulda. And
Hmm.
if you really sit back, even if you dealt with a loss this season or this year, family member or whatever, you have to look at the good times. I
Yeah.
can focus on all the hard times, or we can focus on the good.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a blessing. I think it helps people see. And, I've been told, oh my God, Melina, you're just the same way that you are online. And
Hmm.
authenticity, man, our world needs more of it. We need
Yeah.
more authenticity and vulnerability. And you know what? There are days that suck, absolutely suck. But then there are days that outweigh those. And out of the 300, however many days there are in a year, I can probably say less than 3 months of that, if I had to break it down to days, were hard days.
Yeah.
Right. So less than 90 days out of the 300 plus were really, really hard days, even though it drug on. Right. And
Yeah.
so, no, I'm thankful. I'm ready to go into 2025. I know that this was a stepping block. This year was a stepping block for both of us in our own ways, individually, and then
Hmm.
as a team, but then going into it. And I am super, super, I cannot express my gratitude enough to both the organizations that gave me the opportunity, but more so even iHeartMedia. Like that has been an eye opener for me, and the excitement that I see coming into 2025 and the opportunities that will allow me to share with people here in this community, people like
Yeah.
yourself, to where we can grow it and really put Corpus on the map. And I love Corpus. That's why I go all hard on Corpus when I'm trying to do things for Corpus, because
Yeah.
we have a cool city. We really, really do. We have a cool city. We just got to figure it out. And we're not even going to talk about elections because we both know that that made everybody crazy this year. But despite the challenges, I think that people want the same thing, and that is for us to be better. I
Yeah.
mean, that's all it is to it. So.
Yeah. But to run it out, yes, 2024 was a year, and I'm excited to go into 2025, knowing more things, growing as a person, as a woman in sports, as a content creator, as part of this podcast, because it is very exciting to do this, and it's something that I've always wanted, as I told you when we first started. Yeah, I'm just extremely thankful that I get to end 2024 doing things that I love,
Mm,
and getting to experience things that I love versus, trying once again to figure out what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah. What am I going to be when I grow up? What am I going to
Oh,
be when
no,
I grow up? Yeah.
exactly. Those
Yeah.
was definitely my thoughts when I was going into 2024. So 2025, I am ready for you. I'm excited. Um, and let's just go. So for the final time of
Yeah.
2024, this is Michaela.
This is Melina.
And remember, sports are for girls too.
Have a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.